We're on to 2016. Today on All Out Brick, we're going to be kicking off the final year of Bionicle with the elemental creatures. We're going to build the sets, review them, and then give out a score. Let's get started. Hey everyone, I'm Christian from All Out Brick. Welcome to another Motunui Monday. As always, the best way to tag along is to subscribe and turn on notifications. This week, we're going to be kicking off the 2016 year of Bionicle with the elemental creatures. At the time that these were released in January of 2016, we simply had no idea, but in retrospect now we know this is the final year of Bionicle. It pains me. And before you guys go in the comments and say what's coming after, there's more Bionicle content coming after 2016, I can promise you, but that's not relevant to this video right now. What is relevant are the elemental creatures and kicking off this 2016 line and hopefully doing a little bit better than 2015. The elemental creatures are ancient beings tied to the elemental forces of the island of Okoto. They live in hidden temples built for each of the elements and were sought out by the Toa to be led to the Mask of Control, which is Makuda's mask for Gen 2. As we'll see more in the Uniters review, the creatures can link up with each of the Toa to give them boosted strength and abilities. The boxes for these sets are the exact same size as the protectors and feature images of the included creature in attack. In the background, you can spot silhouettes of the Toa as well as a golden mask. The top banner has been changed over from dark gray to a green color for the 2016 line. The back of each box is left pretty simple with a few images of the included play function as well as a promotion for the uniting of elemental creatures with the Toa. The sealed boxes have two large tape tabs that need to be sliced open. Inside the box there are two bags of pieces along with the instruction manual. The instructions, just as always, are packed with comics and promotional material for the new sets. As a whole, the 2015 year of Bionicle, that kickoff of Gen 2 was, just okay. It was lackluster in areas, the Masters and Protectors really stood out to me, but overall just kind of meh. With 2016, I really want to see LEGO learn from their mistakes from that initial reboot, give us some more refined sets, and that all starts with these elemental creatures. Let's go ahead and complete the builds. Builds took a little bit longer than I thought. In total for all five, it was 53 minutes, which I don't know, it was just surprising to me just how big these sets are. I'm pretty blown away to say the least. Also, to address the fact that, yeah, I know there's only 5 of them, but there's 6 creatures in the storyline. The ice creature comes with Kopaka, so we'll get to that when we do the Uniters review, but for now, we just have these 5 creatures, and the ice creature will come up when it does. Each of the 5 protectors comes with a shadow trap, which were used to bind the elemental creatures during Makuda and Umarak's hunt for them. I love that each set has a different variation to the traps. The skull spiders were just different colors and a solid mold with legs, but these traps have a bit more to their assembly, which is nice. They were still the most boring parts of the build, but I like the end result. The shadow traps function by way of a locking hinge piece, which simulates the trap's opening and closing. Each of the legs has the ability to hinge in case you plan to place yours on uneven terrain. Up first is Uxar, the creature of jungle, which is meant to represent a dragonfly. From a front view, Uxar looks a little bit too dark gray, but from above you can really see all of the green popping through. The headpiece, which mold-wise is the same for all of the elemental creatures, has a nice green gradient with some yellow accent horns. The play features for these sets are so much fun. Uxar's is triggered by moving his back piece up and down, which causes his wings to flap. The wings make use of some system bricks, which is certainly a surprise, but the transparent neon green color is perfect, and I love how they blend in with their connections. This was the first set I built, so this was also a bit of a wake-up call to see just how large these elemental creatures were gonna be. Each of the 4 legs can be articulated at their ball socket joints, and the tail can wag a little bit back and forth. The creature of stone, Ketar, gives us yet another scorpion variant to add to Bionicle. The set continues to incorporate the transparent yellowish green pieces into the stone color palette, which gives a bit of an energized feel to the set. There are 4 identical legs that control Ketar's pose and articulate at their ball and socket joints. The mask mold features a cool gradient, but no additional clip-ons this time around. Up front, there are 2 crystal claw blades, which look a lot like the mold from Onua Nuva. They are each attached to a ball joint, which allows for articulation of the weapons. The tail looks a little bit smaller than I would have wanted it to be. It sort of makes the creature look like an infant rather than ancient. The tail for Ketar can of course articulate a little bit at ball and socket joints, but the big draw to it is when it is rotated, the tail controls the claw blades and makes them flutter up and down. Akida is the creature of water and is representative of a shark. I see a little bit more of a fish than a shark, but hey, what do I know about marine biology? Akida features something we've never seen in Bionicle before, a stand. The stand is so perfect from a display perspective that it lets you prop the set up as if it's truly swimming. The stand is made up of just 3 pieces, and the Technic axle just slips into the underside of Akida. The color scheme is very pleasant to look at. I do think it would look a little bit better if the orange parts were transparent, but that's more of an A to an A+ type of upgrade. Up front, Akida has 2 torpedo shooters, which are the same play function that we got throughout 2015. Visually, these look great, but functionality-wise, I just don't like this function since the studs go all over the place. It's fun, no denying that, but it's in no way maintainable, especially for a child. Pulling up on Akida's dorsal fins, flip the 2 torpedo shooters down, which I think will make a lot more sense after the Uniters review. The tail is able to be moved around to recreate a swimming pattern, which is nice. Ikir, the creature of fire, reminds me a lot of Uxar in the sense that there's a lot of gray going on with this model, and I wish that we just got a bit more bits of red. It's also a lot like Uxar from a build standpoint, but is more of a bird of prey. The feet do a great job of embracing that with the claw pieces. The mask, while still the same mold as the others, has a base color of gold and the transparent orange gradient, so it feels just slightly different. The wings are nicely constructed with the various pieces to give them their crystal appearance and can articulate at a ball joint. Pushing and pulling on the back feathers causes his wings to flap, which again is very similar to Uxar, but certainly not identical. Terak, the creature of earth, immediately strikes me as the one variation that looks a lot more like a Matoran or Protector compared to the others, which have much more of a creature vibe. He is supposed to represent a combination of a lizard and an ape. The purple and gold color scheme once again proves to be simply immaculate. The transparent purple pieces blend so perfectly with the black pieces, very reminiscent of Onepu's Tohunga set. The very interesting part to this set visually is that the claws at his hands are much larger than the feet, definitely speaking to the ape influence this set has, but also carries a bit of a mole vibe. Each of the claw pieces can be hinged, and the arm features a few different articulation points to get really creative. The back can be lifted to raise both arms simultaneously. My one critique here is that this would be much better if it were made similarly to Ketar's function, where one arm would raise while the other lowers to replicate a digging sequence. Just like Ikir, this mask is gold, but is still the same mold that we saw with the other sets. 2 transparent purple horns were placed on here just to shake it up a little bit. If you want to purchase any of the elemental creatures for your collection, in general, they're like $25 US each for used condition, and if you even want to go brand new sealed, they range somewhere between $35 to $50. It depends on which variant you get, of course, but they're not all that expensive in both sealed condition and used condition. In terms of a score, I'm going to give these sets an 8.4, which is just so much higher than I was expecting considering how 2015 ended, kind of how this feeling of G2 has been, but 2016 is off to a very hot start with an 8.4. Going into this review, I was hoping to see that LEGO learn from some lessons from that 2015 line, and clearly they did. These sets emulate a lot of the feelings that early Gen 1 sets did, having great value, size, color palettes, functions, and even include some good side builds. We know that they'll be returning next week with the Uniters to add even more play features, but just by themselves, these are my favorite sets of Gen 2 so far. So 8.4, that's your review. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to be the first to see all future content. Also be sure to follow along on the website, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all the social media pages. Until next time, stay bricking.